But this team, it's so easy to recruit to USC. Okay, it's all the tradition in the world. There's no excuse for them not being a dominant program, and they just aren't right now. What is going on, everybody? It is Jake with Master Football, back at it again. Happy Wednesday. Sorry, almost said Monday there. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here. All right, if you guys have never been here before, this is Jake with Master Football. All things pro football, all things college football, all things video game football, anything related to American football, we discuss on this show. Please, 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 emphasis on the please. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like it. Please share it with friends. Please comment. Anything like that drives engagement. I very much appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get into the show. All right, the other day, our dear friend, Mr. Clay Helton, he ultimately got fired from the USC head coaching job. It was the result of a game that he had with the Stanford Cardinals. So Stanford Cardinal comes out, first game of the season. They play the Kansas State Wildcats, and they lose 24-7. They did not look good on offense. They did not look like they were a threat at all. USC, the game before, they were playing San Jose State. They beat them 30-7, had a really good game against them. Their offense maybe sputtered a little bit, but the defense looked pretty good. But, when you come out there and you're going to play a rival and you play them week 2 and you do this, 42-28. This team scored 7 points against a Big 12 team that's not, again, they're not projected to necessarily win the Big 12, Kansas State is, but they gave up 7 points. However, USC's defense gave up 42 points. They gave up 140 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, 230 passing, and 2 passing touchdowns. Had an interception, only had 5 yards per average per throw. They had a really, really rough game. So Clay Helton was let go of his duty. I want to go ahead and talk about a couple things. First thing I want to do is establish, how he kind of took over as head coach, then who they're talking about and who they're not talking about, because I believe there's 3 names that are more than likely going to get the offer, and there's 3 names that should get the offer. Let's get into it. So it says here that on October 11th, 2015, he became the interim head coach under Steve Sarkisian after he took his leave of absence, and then he was fired. On November 30th, USC removed the interim tag and named him their 23rd head coach in school history. So we see here on October 11th, I believe, was when he had that. So after this loss to Washington, they decided to remove that Steve Sarkisian as head coach after his leave of absence, and then they take over. So they lose to Notre Dame. They beat number 3 Utah. They beat Cal. They beat Arizona. They beat Colorado. They lose to Oregon, but then they beat UCLA. After this November 28th game on November 30th, they decide to name him the head coach of the USC Trojans because they were going to the Pac-12 championship game. They had originally gone from 3-3 to the Pac-12 championship game. They were looking good. So what I think happened in this instance was they were kind of reeling from the fact that Steve Sarkisian just left. Ed Orgeron was going to be named the head coach, and then they brought in Sarkisian, so he left. It was just kind of all over the place. But Clay Helton was kind of the security blanket. He was the kind of guy that he was going to make sure, everything stayed the same. Everything was going to be hunky-dory. There's going to be not a lot of chaos in here, okay? We're going to have, I'm the kind of guy, all the players like me, all the players trust me. They want me to be the coach, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take over. So that's what the story was. I think that, unfortunately, this is one of those instances where emotion can overrule judgment, and the emotion of, man, Coach Clay's awesome and Coach H is cool, rather than, yo, dude, is this guy ready for USC? This is a top flight program that can do a lot of things. I know the last time they were good was with Pete Carroll, and before that it was a long time before that too. But this team, it's so easy to recruit to USC. Okay, it's all the tradition in the world. There's no excuse for them not being a dominant program, and they just aren't right now. So they are in the process of looking for a new head coach. We're going to go through an article really quickly, talk about a couple of the guys they're talking about, and then I'm going to talk about guys that they are not talking about. Let's check that article out. Here we are on the LA Times. Here are 13 candidates to replace Clay Helton as USC's permanent head football coach. So we see there James Franklin is the first. So Matt Campbell at Iowa State done a really good job with a really small-time program. I should say not as prestigious as a program. I've done a lot of Iowa State videos, a lot of Big 12 stuff. No offense, Iowa State. But it's not as big of a program as USC. He's done a really, really good job. Coming down here, Luke Fickle, same thing as well. Cincinnati head coach, formerly at Ohio State, goes over there and does a fantastic job with them. They are currently top 10 nationally. Both of those teams are currently top 10 ranked nationally right now. Then you have James Franklin, did a really good job at Vanderbilt, made them relevant in the SEC, which is nuts. Goes to Penn State. They do a great job. They are a nationally relevant team. They recruit really well. They do a lot really great. And then it comes down here. There's a couple other people. Kyle Whittingham, the Utah head coach, who's got a pretty good thing there. I think he's actually from Utah. Greg Schiano, the Rutgers head coach, who might be looking for a bigger gig. Eric Bieniemy, Chiefs offensive coordinator. Jeff Hafley, Boston College head coach, and on and on and on. So I have the three guys of there that they're most likely to hire in the order that I think that they should hire, and then I have three guys that they need to call if I was the guy doing it. Remember what they're probably going to do, what I would do. Let's get into that real quick. So what I would do for this really quickly is the number one guy I would bring in would be Luke Fickle. The reason why they would bring in Luke Fickle is because he was hired by Mike Bohn, B-O-H-N, Bohn. I hope that's how you say it. He's the USC AD right now. He's done a great job. I mean, Cincinnati's not exactly a national power. However, Cincinnati now everybody's like, oh my gosh, yeah, they're going to the Big 12. Blah blah blah. He might want to actually stay with Cincinnati because he's going to be, king of the castle, the guy that took them from there to the Big 12. That's what he's going to be kind of seen as. But I mean, USC is an elite program, and if he gets there and he does the same things, develops those 4- and 5-star guys into the players like what Cincinnati's done with 2- and 3-star guys, they're going to be, the sky's the limit for them. Next one is James Franklin. I feel like James Franklin is second because done really well at Vanderbilt, made them relevant in a really hard league to get relevant in. Made Penn State relevant. He's a dynamite recruiter. Remember his first recruiting class that he had. I actually think his second recruiting class, he had Saquon Barkley. He's got Micah Parsons. He can get top flight 5-star guys in that program and develop them too. So I think that he would be dominant. That's what USC just needs good players, man. They're trying to get, this with this coaching and that coaching. I honestly think that, dude, it's USC. It's just like LSU. It's just like Alabama. It's just like Oklahoma. If you bring in good dudes, you're just going to be better than the other guys. And then I think Matt Campbell. I think Matt Campbell is kind of like Luke Fickle. I think that the connection between Luke Fickle and the AD is stronger than it is for Matt Campbell, but still really, really strong candidate. So those are the three guys I think that they're most likely to hire. Now let's get into the fun stuff. If I was the AD of USC, what I would do, I'm getting aggressive, okay? I want rising stars. I want young guys. I want smart guys. I want guys who've got some college experience, things like that. First guy I'm going to call Joe Brady. So Joe Brady is currently the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. Most recently, so look at this here. So he was in 2013, he was a linebackers coach, then a graduate assistant, and then the Saints brought him in as an offensive assistant, and then LSU hired him as a passing game coordinator. He comes in and he wins the Royals Award, which is the nation's top assistant coach in college football. They have 60 touchdown passes. Now I know they had Terrence Marshall and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Joe Burrow, but still at the same time, do you not think they can do that at USC? Okay, they can absolutely do that at USC, and there's no humidity down there. Sorry, I hate humidity. But anyways, I'm looking here. So he's a rising star. Went from 2017 offensive assistant to passing game coordinator to offensive coordinator in the NFL, and he's doing a pretty good job with them right now. The Carolina Panthers with Matt Rule. I absolutely believe he is a rising star. His connection to college, understanding, probably has some exposure to recruiting. Does a really good job with understanding the rules, and absolutely just took over the NCAA. There was SEC defenses had no idea what the hell to do about the LSU passing offense. So I think he would be a strong candidate to bring in. The next one I would bring in is a dear friend, Mr. Brandon Staley. So again, same thing, younger guy, 38 years old. Took over as the defensive coordinator for the LA Rams in 2020. The only thing about these two guys that I've said so far is that they don't have a lot of experience, but the experience they have is dynamite. The LA Rams were absolutely terrifying as a defense, and he had a lot of innovations that I actually want to bring up in this video real quick. So here's a video from Alex Rollins, NFL. I ever encourage everybody, please go subscribe to this channel. This video right here really breaks down all of the innovations that Brandon Staley had when he was with the Los Angeles Rams, and they were absolutely terrifying. He's an LA guy. He was at the Rams. Now he's at the Chargers. He wants to be in LA. He's been in LA. This is the second coaching gig. He was the defensive coordinator. Now he's the head coach. I think that the connections are there. He's also a really, really smart mind when it comes to innovations, understanding dynamics from college, how to take things over. He actually has a lot of college concepts in his defense right now. I encourage everybody here. In fact, I implore everybody here, go watch this video. It is awesome. I absolutely love it. So I think that Brandon Staley is the second guy I would call. Joe Brady is an expert on offense, and Brandon Staley is an expert on defense. Both are young. Both have either exposure to college or exposure to LA. I really like those two connections. And last but not least, the third guy I would call Chip Kelly. Honestly, he's in LA right now. He's a dynamite recruiter. He's really good. I mean, he's not great when it comes to player personnel in the NFL, but good recruiter, has his team together. It is in LA, and what better for that rivalry if they were to go and take Chip Kelly? It would be a fierce, fierce thing. But I think that those three guys, Joe Brady, Brandon Staley, Chip Kelly, those are the three guys I would call rather than your usual suspects of Luke Fickle, James Franklin, and Matt Campbell. All right, everybody, if you were USC right now, who would you hire? And be serious, okay? Don't be like, I'm hiring an idiot. Be serious, okay? Who would you hire and why, okay? Exposure to college, long track record, innovative mind. What do you want? What do you think would be best for them? All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, subscribe, comment on the video, anything like that. I very much appreciate it. But I'm going to let you guys go. I will see you guys on Friday.